Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals, such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with Maximilian Waid, and your business is?
I'm a Bioenergetic Practitioner.
Is that the best treatment?
I think it is, but I'm very biased.
Okay, so tell me, first of all, we met like literally 5 minutes ago. Yes. So tell me about how you found out about Vancouver Island Time.
I'm an avid podcast listener. So I found myself about 3 weeks ago just looking for podcasts that are actually happening on the island. And yours was literally the first one, the top one that kept popping up on different websites. And I thought, it sounds really interesting. So I started listening and watching some of the episodes and I got hooked. I decided right there and then that I think I want to become a guest on the show.
And what do you think is the purpose of a show like this? What purpose would it serve people?
I think, for one, it's a great way to get your word out about your business, but also about the community that you live in. In my case, the Cooke Street Village community, which is a very unique and awesome community. And I felt this urge for a while to just put it out there and share with people how awesome this community is, and especially for people that might be looking to change neighborhoods within Victoria or people moving to the island from other parts of Canada.
When did you move to Victoria?
I moved to Victoria about 3 years ago. I moved here with my fiance and we lived in Hong Kong before, so we really wanted a change of scenery, and Victoria and Vancouver Island, they were the perfect fit for us.
And how did you come to choose Cooke Street Village? And if you had been watching Vancouver Island Time before, would that have changed maybe? Would that have maybe opened your eyes to other areas?
I think it would have actually allowed us to move straight to Cooke Street Village. We first lived in Oak Bay for almost 2 years. And Oak Bay is a beautiful neighborhood as well. But we've always felt very drawn towards Cooke Street Village. It's very iconic, lots of open-minded people. I think if we discovered your podcast 3 years ago, it would have made things a little easier for us. Absolutely, yeah.
So what are the demographics of Cooke Street Village? Because when people describe neighborhood in Victoria, the first place that they describe is Cooke Street Village as being kind of the ideal neighborhood.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't actually know. The demographics, wow, that's a tough one. I think it's very versatile. You have a very broad age range of people here. Maybe not as many older generations as Oak Bay, but certainly older generations are present here as well as younger generations. I find for alternative healers and practitioners and therapists, it's a very great place to be. There's a lot of different outlets that really serve the eco-conscious, the food lovers who love to eat organic foods, or the people that have certain diets, such as gluten-free diets. I think there's different places here in the village that really serve those preferences. So in terms of demographics, I think it's very colorful. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it, actually.
Colorful, yes.
I find there are lots of young families around here, lots of professionals in Fairfield, in this area, who are walking downtown to work, lots of government. So when you say that there's a lot of kind of, I would say, alternative type of non-traditional healers in this area, I was surprised to learn that.
I wasn't so surprised because I work in the profession, but I can certainly see as someone who's not working in this particular field that first coming to Cooke Street Village, you may not expect that from this neighborhood. And that's another thing I love about Cooke Street Village. It's full of surprises.
So where do you go to eat in Cooke Street Village? I go to the pizza place.
Prima Strada. Yeah, very good choice. It really depends on the occasion. If I just want a casual bite, I would say Big Wheel Burger is amazing. And I feel a lot of people love Big Wheel Burger here in Victoria. There's a great sushi place. I find people also love to indulge in sushi. It's called Jiro Sushi. Other than that, for a fancier dinner, I would say the Collective, which is a tapas and wine bar, right next to Prima Strada, actually.
I've never been there.
Yeah, it's really nice, and especially on nights where they have live music, I can highly recommend that. And other than that, I would recommend the Beagle Pub. That seems to be one of the places in Cooke Street Village where a lot of people flock to, especially at night.
What about Bubby's?
Bubby's is really nice. And the Village, which is, it might actually be where Bubby's used to be. And they serve an amazing breakfast, especially brunch on a weekend. That would be the place to go.
Okay, and then there is the Mocha House and Starbucks, of course.
Yes, absolutely. The Mocha House is amazing. The slogan, I think, is at the heart of the community. And I feel that is really where the community meets, where you find a very diverse group of people coming together, sharing coffee or tea, whatever floats your boat.
Okay, so let's just talk about geographically where we are, because we're kind of in you're in a very iconic building at the corner of the park, literally. Tell me about the area geographically.
So we're right on the corner of Haywood Avenue and Park Boulevard, and we're literally on the edge of Beacon Hill Park. We can see it from the window. And it's right next to one of the cricket fields in Beacon Hill Park. And it's fairly close to the Queen's Pond, which is a small pond just around the corner. We're about 300 meters away from the petting zoo, the Beacon Hill petting zoo, which is probably most known for its goat stampede.
At 10 a.m. and 1 p.m.
Exactly.
So what about, we're also close to Dallas Road, right? And all the people, there's lots of activities that happen in this area, like the Times Colonist 10K and all the marathons and stuff that are all going around this area. Sometimes you can get stranded here. Do you find that, like when those big events are happening?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You can definitely get stranded here, which is not a bad thing. Whether you live here or you're just visiting, I mean, what better place to get stranded than Beacon Hill Park? But it's true, you can definitely get stranded here, yeah.
How long does it take you to walk downtown?
10 minutes. And it's a beautiful walk. You can cut right through the park and you basically come out near the legislature. And from there, you're almost in the inner harbor. So overall, it's a 10-minute walk, pretty quick and very beautiful, no matter if it's summer, winter, spring, or autumn.
So I noticed that there's some development happening in the area as well. So a few condos going up on Oliphant that are rentals, which is good, bringing rentals into the area. There are also some rentals along Haywood, and this is a rental building as well. Do you find most people rent here, or are they owners?
I would say it's probably about 70% owners and then roughly 30% that rent here, yeah.
And are they long-term rentals? Because there's a bit of a movement against short-term rentals in Victoria, right?
Yes, I am not sure about other neighborhoods, but here in Cooke Street Village, it seems like there's some proper long-term renters. And we're speaking some between 10 and 30 years of renting a property.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah, I think so too. I was actually really surprised to realize that when we moved here.
So are you German? Is that where you come from, or European?
Yes, both.
So do you find, like, I know the owning of a property is kind of a North American value. Do you find that?
It used to be. I think nowadays there's a lot of rental properties in Germany as well. And I think with a lot of those properties, it seems that we're actually copying North America.
And what do you think of that? Is the plan to buy or rent? Because you can get an awesome location without having to buy in Victoria, right?
Absolutely. And there is a lot less risk involved too.
Is this a heritage building, this building?
Yes. It was built in 1936 or 1937. And as far as I know, it's actually Victoria's first apartment building.
So with heritage buildings, they actually give you money to upgrade them and maintain the exterior, and you can do what you want on the interior. But I noticed you have like lovely, beautiful floors, and you have the radiant heating. Normally I don't talk about these things, but it's just a really beautiful condo that you're living in, and you have a almost semicircular view of the park. Like, I can understand why you moved here from Oak Bay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's talk. So we've sort of figured out, where to eat. What about buying food?
Mother Nature's Market. It is the only proper supermarket that we have in the village. Actually, that's not true. We have two supermarkets, but Mother Nature's Market is an organic supermarket and a deli. I love to shop there. And I find that for people who have a certain diet, such as the gluten-free diet, whether you're vegan or vegetarian, this is the place to go.
Because there's just lots of choice. And do you find, though, when you go out to eat in Victoria, it's pretty easy to find gluten-free? I'm finding like everyone's pretty sensitive, hey?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of people that are quite sensitive, other people who might just do it by choice. But overall, I find it very easy. I don't think I've actually been to a single restaurant where they didn't have at least one gluten-free or at least a vegetarian option. Maybe not always a vegan option, but certainly vegetarian.
Okay, so let's talk entertainment. So down in the harbor, like in the summer, they have Symphony Splash and Canada Day. What else is going on around this area that people could do in the evenings or as a family?
Yeah, if you don't want to go out for food at the Collective, Prima Strada, or the Beagle Pub, my fiance's and my favorite activity in the summer is the film festival that takes place throughout August in Beacon Hill Park. That's probably the coolest thing that you can attend during the summertime.
So tell me more about that.
So every weekend I think it's the Victoria Film Fest or Festival. They host a movie on a Friday night and a Saturday night for free. All you need to do is bring your blanket, and it is done at the Cameron Bandshell. They put up a huge screen, and we usually have about 200 to 300 people just flock around and bring their picnic blankets, bring food, bring chairs, bring their pets even. It's a great event for the entire family.
Thank you, Maximilian, for giving us a great overview of the James Bay area. Stay tuned, because we're going to be back and we're going to talk about his work with bioenergy. And after this message in 1 minute. Take care. Bye.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at RE/MAX Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Hi, it's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at RE/MAX Camosun, and I'm here with Maximilian Waid, and he is with his company,
Aeon Health.
How'd you come up with that name? What does it mean to you?
Aeon it stems from Old Greek, ancient Greek, and nowadays it's known as a term we use even in the English language to describe a very long period of time. Back in the day, it was actually a term that was describing a so-called life force, an energy force that permeates everything in the universe and actually provides life to every organism on this planet. And that was the inspiration for my company's name.
So what do you do exactly?
I'm a bioenergetic practitioner, which means I scan and I assess people's energy fields. And I assess their energy fields to determine if there are any blockages or distortions within particular energy fields, such as the chakras, for instance. And then I provide a treatment to resolve these blockages or distortions. The idea is that by providing the entire human body with an ample amount of energy, it can actually return to its full functioning and heal itself. So overall, it's a very powerful tool for people suffering from chronic conditions.
And is it a lot of them also focusing probably on how they're feeling, really? Because I find a lot of people are out of touch with how they feel.
Absolutely. So the scan is, it's a very powerful tool because the scan itself takes about 10 seconds. It's completely non-invasive, so most people don't have any sensations as it's occurring. And then after the scan, I take them through a very detailed assessment. And the assessment actually takes into consideration not just the physical body and what is happening in the physical body, but what is also happening on an emotional level and even on a spiritual level. And some people might go, how is that possible? How can we actually assess these things? Thanks to the emerging science of quantum physics, we're actually nowadays able to measure the most subtle forms of energy. And because everything in the universe is energy, so are emotions, our thoughts, and any doubts that we might have, any fears that we might have. And the scanner can actually pick up all of these thoughts, all of these belief systems that one person might hold, all of these emotions that might be stuck within us, sometimes dating back to a person's childhood. So we can assess all of them and actually get a very detailed, very in-depth look into a person and what is happening with them. And then also draw the conclusion between what is going on emotionally and how does that reflect itself in the physical body through pain or tightness of the muscles and so forth.
Do you find people are scared to do that?
Actually, I've only had maybe less than 5% of my clients who are a little scared in the beginning. But even those, once they've seen the results, and once they've seen how accurate it is, that level of fear really drops very, very quickly. And they're just happy that they now know what is going on and further what they can do to actually heal themselves. And that's really at the core of my practice, that I am not a healer. I'm simply a practitioner. I'm the guide that will take them through the assessment, explain it all to them, provide them with a treatment. But on the emotional level, everything that's being revealed, it's up to them to decide how they want to work through it, if they want to work through it themselves.
So do you assess people with a tool?
Yes, it's a small scanner that's about the size of a computer mouse. It actually looks very similar to the Apple's Magic Mouse. And I have my clients place the palm of the hand on the device. And then within 10 seconds, all of the energy fields in a person's body are scanned and assessed.
Do you have relationships with other practitioners so that if somebody says, well, I think I need to go talk to a psychiatrist or psychologist to discuss these things, you have the connection for them?
Yes, absolutely. Over the last 6 to 12 months, I've been partnering with a variety of practitioners in Victoria, including yoga studios as well, because physical therapy can be a very big and helpful component as well. But yes, absolutely. I've partnered with many people, and if a person feels that they cannot do all of the work themselves, they can certainly reach out to other professionals. But most of the time, it's actually very important that the person at least starts out working through this on their own. And there's different tools that I provide them with as well, that they can utilize to do the work.
How do people find you?
Most of my clients find me through Google, so through my website. There's also posters around town throughout most of the year advertising my services, as well as Instagram.
Okay, what's your Instagram handle?
It's aeon.health.
So AEON.health.
Exactly.
Okay, so what do you find general, like if you were to sort of characterize general findings with people, what are you finding?
The most common findings are how stress, whether it's stress from our work, from a family situation, or stress that we put on ourselves, how that affects particularly our digestive system. I have a lot of people that come and see me with chronic digestive issues. That would probably be the most common one. And the second most common one is anything involving our muscles and our skeletal system, our bones, basically. Anything from tight muscles to arthritis. Those are also very, very common findings.
So can emotional stress lead to arthritis?
Absolutely.
Because it's an immune response.
That's certainly one of the ways that it expresses itself. Most of the conditions, I would almost say that every condition, every chronic condition that we're dealing with in today's world is rooted in has a non-physical base. And this non-physical base is usually related to some emotional trauma, particularly trauma from our childhood.
How did you get involved in it?
I actually went through my own personal healing journey. I spent 9 years with chronic pain and tried pretty much everything in the book out there, anything from physical therapy to seeing therapists that would focus on just talking about the issues, to alternative methods as well. And through alternative methods, especially traditional Chinese medicine, I slowly became aware that we're not just our physical body. There's so much more to us, you know, all the emotions, everything that we think about. So there is a mental component. There is a very important spiritual component as well. And all that led me towards energy medicine. And I still remember when I first came across it, I was so struck by it because it made so much sense. And when I then discovered that there is actually a science, quantum physics, that can nowadays allow us to prove a lot of the knowledge that has been around for literally thousands of years, that's when I was really hooked, and I decided to get into the field. And that was just over 4 years ago, and I've been studying ever since and just absorbing everything that I can find, and then recently started my practice.
I find for myself, like I definitely get a vibe off people, and there's lots of talk about the law of attraction and mindset. So to me, this all totally makes sense. It's just a way of structuring it in a way that makes sense to people, I think.
Absolutely. And what you just said, I've actually been noticing that a lot here in Victoria, that even people that are very unfamiliar with my work, when I meet them at trade shows, for instance, there's an openness towards what I do. There's very few people that just basically shut it down right at the beginning, because more and more people seem to be waking up and just realizing that they have this inner knowledge which basically tells them there is something there. You know, we are way more than just the physical body. And when I see people coming with chronic conditions, and I have some clients, they've had chronic conditions for up to 30 years or even longer, and they've really lost hope in the Western medical system. Once they see the scan results and they start realizing, hey, I am so much more than just the physical body. It's almost like you can literally see how hope is being sparked in their minds and their hearts again, which is a very rewarding thing.
So after they go through a treatment with you and you scan them again, do you see the changes?
Oh, absolutely. And the beautiful thing is the changes don't just occur because of the treatment that I provide, but also the work that people do between the different treatment sessions and scanning sessions. So they can see from one scan to the next, okay, I've been working on this emotional issue, just as an example, and I've been successfully letting it go. And that is why I can now see all these changes in the scan results, but not just in the scan results, but also the way they feel.
Give me an example of a treatment that you would prescribe for someone.
Most of the treatments that I prescribe, most of the homework I prescribe to people is once they have determined, or once the scan has determined what their emotional issues are, I then encourage people to work on these issues. Some people might already have a meditation practice, for instance, or a practice where they reflect on certain issues themselves, so they can actively work through it. For those people, I just basically allow them to do it at home and see how that changes things. For other people who don't really know how to tackle emotional issues, and I find that is very common with people nowadays, I provide them with certain tools that they can then use themselves to work through the issues. And by allowing them to work through it themselves, they're empowered. You know, it's no longer the practitioner that does all the work.
They're not the crutch.
Exactly. It is them. They decide how quickly they want to go through their healing and how much effort they want to put into it. I think acceptance in every field in life is really the crucial component. And too often do we have this tendency to resist things and to not accept things. And from an energetic point of view, it's very interesting. Whenever there's something that we choose to not accept, whether it's a person or an event that just occurred in our lives, there's a lot of energy that we have to utilize to resist. And that in turn can really drain our energies. And when we're draining our energy and our energy reserves in the body obviously has less energy that it can use to sustain itself. And that's when people start noticing the system slowly breaking down. And it's interesting because that's when we're seeing chronic conditions arising in the body. And the biggest contributor to this draining of our energy is really any form of stress.
So it's interesting. I have a friend who's an energy healer as well, and she does a lot of massage with people. And we both bought necklaces at exactly the same time, and hers is all tarnished and mine is pristine. And so we were at a conference and we went to the person who supplied them, and she's a woman from Victoria, but she lives in the States, and her company's called Hai Chi, and she infuses energy into these crystals and metal. Anyway, and so she said to my friend, she's like, you're absorbing too much negative energy.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. The work that I do, it's very important that at the end of the day, I actually do a practice where I let go of all of the negative energy that I may have taken on from my clients as well. Because oftentimes it can be tricky to not take on other people's energy. And that's why we're so affected by, as you said earlier, you can feel people's vibes. And it makes perfect sense because on an energetic level, the heart, for instance, produces the strongest energy field that we have in the body, and it extends several feet outwards. So when you say, oh, this person is giving off a strange vibe, you can literally feel it because you are engulfed in their energy field, and so are they in yours. So if you have someone who has a very strong negative field, you will feel that too.
Yeah, I'll feel repelled.
Absolutely, yeah. And then vice versa, if there's someone who has a very, very powerful positive energy field, that's when we describe people as very charismatic, very attractive.
I get told that all the time. No, my grandmother used to call me Great Heart.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that is actually one of the most beautiful compliments you can receive. Anything relating to our heart, because it is truly the most vital organ that we have, and not just on a physical level, but also a non-physical or metaphysical level.
Okay, so if people want to get in touch with you,
the easiest way to get in touch with me is via the website Aeon.Health. A lot of people don't realize, but the .health is actually a modern version of .com. Because I've had people going, oh, I don't think that's your full web address. And I'm like, yeah, I think it is. It works. Just try it out. Otherwise, on Instagram, it's the same thing, Aeon.Health. And Aeon is AEON.Health.
Okay, and they can message you either way.
Exactly.
If you want information about the Cooke Street Village area, contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. Take care, have a great day, and welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.